I think this has been one of my tougher painting projects, so let me show you how I did it. But first, can I ask you a small favor? Can you go right down and click that red subscribe button? Most people who watch my videos aren't subscribers, and I'm trying to change that. I would greatly appreciate that. Thank you. Now back to the video. So we're going to start with one of these poxwalkers. They're little old-timey divers. I'm going to use this medium flesh color for all of the fabric around the diver. So basically the whole suit is going to be that color. I want to try to avoid all the little straps because I'm going to color them like a brown later. So here's basically the full suit with that flesh color on it. Next we're going to use this copper color for all the metal. Sorry, I got a little low here. So here's that copper helmet then. Now I have this dark brown, and I'm going to use that on the gloves and leathery looking parts. Basically just the gloves though, and the two random knee straps. Next is this lighter brown. I'm going to use it for most of the straps and stuff like that. On this specific model, I also used it for the rope, too. I forgot to do the boots and the belt buckle in the copper, so that's what I did during this little break, I guess. I'm going to use this green wash to see what it does, basically. My goal was to give it kind of a moldy or algae-covered look, and I think it did alright. I also tried a couple others. This one's an umber wash, so it's kind of a brown. Then this one is a black wash on the left with a green wash over it, and then the right one is just the green wash as a comparison. I think that one was too dark though. Here I'm going to use this black wash on the metal to see if I can kind of dirty it up. I'm also going to use it on the rope to see if I can get a little bit of texture out of that, and then the belts. Next I'm switching gears to the mutations, and I'm going to use this light flesh and a light green and mix them together. As kind of a base coat, I think it works. It's a bit bright though. So I'm going to mix a pink and this light flesh color to go on the underneath of the tentacles. It really wasn't very pink though. Then I'm going to use this dark green on the underside of the crusty limbs. As another example of some tentacles, I used these three, this pink, green, and white. Kind of made this real light color. I put that on the underside of the tentacles. Then I used this straight bright green, put it next to that light layer as kind of like a mid-tone. Then I mixed the dark green and the bright green and kind of made this end final color, I guess, for the outside. Then I used a bunch of watered down of those three colors to kind of try to blend them together, and they turned out pretty well. For the kind of fish head, I used the dark green on the top, and then the bright green on the bottom, and then did the same thing, kind of blended them together with the watered down colors. Then I decided to go with a red wash for the underside of the tentacles, give it kind of a pinky color. Some of the weapons I didn't think would look good in copper, so I used this metallic nickel. There were a couple guys with these porthole eyes for their helmets, so I used the bright green and just kind of made little Sauron eyes, I guess. I then mixed the bright green and a little bit of this purple, light purple, to make some kind of little outside highlights on it. It wasn't perfect, but I'm okay with it in the end. Then for the bases, I used a lot of this dark green and just kind of piled it on there so it was nice and goopy. And then I used the bright green and kind of smeared it in, making some swirls and stuff like that. I basically just used variations of those colors and techniques to get through all of these. At some point I did add a little bit more purple to some of the crustier leg things because I thought that looked better. Now let's take a look at the Plague Marines. This is the one we're going to work on. You can see that they've got a lot of coral bits all over them. So for most of the armor I mixed dark green and this light flesh tone and got this kind of muted green color. I wanted some of that black to come through, so I didn't use a whole lot of paint. Next I added some pink to that green and cream I had before, and I used that on some of the coral on the top, kind of the wider, flatter pieces. Basically everything I do is trial and error, so just kind of mixing and matching colors that I think might work, and in this case it got kind of that dead grayish color of coral look, I guess. So next I added this purple to that same color, so it's still kind of muted the grayish, but now you can see it's got a purple tint to it. Here's some light brown that I used very briefly on the ship's wheel on his back. I then used some dark brown on like the mussels or clams that are on his side and back. For the weapons I chose a metallic copper. I used that on like the metal weapons and the like metal parts of the guns because I thought that would look cool. Next I used this pink and the light flesh on the starfish. I used medium flesh on the like fabric at their knees. Then I tried that brown wash, umber wash on the wood and the guns and stuff like that. I don't think it was quite dark enough though. A little bit of that green wash on the fabric-y leg things. I also tried it on some of the recesses in the armor, but you couldn't really see it very well. I tried to go back over and give it some highlights then and some lighter green. Then I used some black wash to go over the weapons and then some parts in the darker parts of the armor, since that green didn't really do much. Probably not quite as gooey as it could be for a death guard, but in the end it looked like a underwater warrior, so. Some of them I went in with a lot deeper purples in the coral, but for the most part I used the same stuff over all of them. For Typhus and the Biologus, I basically used all the same stuff, purples and lighter colors for the coral, copper for the weapons, green for the armor, some lighter green highlights, that flesh color for anything that looks like cloth, and then some washes to darken it all up. All in all, I think this was a fairly challenging project. Just had to paint a lot of things I don't think I've painted before, like coral and little starfish and stuff like that. I think it turned out basically how I wanted though. So what do you think? How'd they turn out? Let me know down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.